Hi, I'm Xenowave, and today I'm going to show you how I made these sounds. Okay, so let's start out with the kick. So this is my attempt at synthesizing a sort of acoustic sounding kick. So in operator 1, I just have the sine wave with a little bit of tension. Tension is a little bit above the fourth tick. Skew is below the fourth tick. Sine shaper is right under the third tick. And I just have this volume envelope right here. And I have this pitch envelope right here. So volume envelope is less solos actually. This is just to cut off the sound, and pitch envelope is to have the pitch sweep to make that sort of hit. And of course, to make it happen, we need to have the pitch envelope amount set to a high amount. So I have it at 4,113 cents. Though you could just choose whatever else you want. Over in operator 6, we have just these random harmonics I drew in. I'm pretty sure I just right clicked from harmonic 26 to harmonic 82. That was just arbitrary. I just wanted to get some noise, and I use feedback FM to get some noise. So here's what it sounds like on its own. I have a volume envelope, basically the same volume envelope as operator 1's, and I have the same envelope of the tension raised for the modulation of operator 6. And I have the tension at the, like a little bit above the fifth tick. Excuse me. In filter 1, I have a low pass filter. Here's what that sounds like. So I'm sweeping down this low pass. I have the line low pass on high quality flat triple mode. Cutoff is around 12%. Resonance is at 76%. I have the amp maxed out, and I have this for my wave shaper configuration. It's extremely sensitive, but it can also really help shape the sound. So I decided that was good for my low end, and for the rest of the sound, I decided to actually take operator 1 and reinforce it into filter 2, as I'm serializing it as well into the next. So filter 2 is a high pass, and I'm sweeping that down as well, and this is my envelope. It's Lime high pass, high quality flat triple mode, no cutoff, and it has 96% for resonance. And over in the effects, I have, these are my reverb settings. I just have the low cut set to a point where I don't hear the low end, and high cut is maxed out, no pre-delay. Room size is that's arbitrary, that's to taste. Diffusion is maxed out, decay is just 0.1. High damping is around 20k hertz, and volume is around 5, 6, 7%, and that's it for the kick. Whoops. And I think I have a high shelf at around 1937 hertz with a 4.2 decibel boost. So if you think the highs are too much, then you could take that off, or we could just decrease the volume envelope. Another important thing is actually, if you increase this volume envelope for operator 1, you have a different timbre, which can also help for achieving that rumbly sort of sound. And on top of that, oh, I almost forgot. I guess I had that turned off. That's fine. So this part's important, actually. Achieving that rumble with a kick, I decided to try phase modulation because I was looking at an actual acoustic kick, and I figured that this activity right here was some sort of phasing happening. So I tried it with another instance, and I thought it sounded pretty good. Versus this. It's just nailing the noise and whatever you have at the top end. Synthesize that can be weird. But yeah, that's really it for the acoustic kick. Definitely do use some phase modulation on your LFO, please. It's awesome. Alright, so now let's work on the snare. So it's a metallic sort of thing. If you've seen the snare video, it's basically the same concept. I just did some cool things. So basically, in operator 1, we have our square wave. That's been we have our additive square wave. That's all. I don't know why the word slipped me for a second, but yeah, I have this for the volume envelope, a little block. Let me solo this. So that sounds like global. That doesn't matter. Global phase doesn't matter. Pitch. Oh, whoops. This is my pitch envelope, and I have the pitch envelope amount set to. Well, I meant for it to be 2400 cents, and that's what's allowing this pitch to fall from a high to a really low pitch, or relatively low. That's too much. So that's it for operator 1. Operator 2 is just adding to the transient, so it's just a little noise tap. So there's nothing happening in our oscillator section. Just take that away, and we just max out the noise right here, and then draw this in for the envelope. Also, make sure your envelopes are turned on. This is the button. And I have the volume set to. If you type it in, it's 65%. If you look at the hint bar, it's positive 31%. Operator 3 is also noise. And this is the volume envelope for that. I was key mapping it. Oh yeah, you can ignore this if you want, but basically for higher pitches I wanted less noise, and for lower pitches I wanted just a little less noise, but higher pitches is way less noise. And the volume for operator 3 is 84% if you type it in, or positive 69%. Nice. So yeah, that's it for the 3 operators. We'll talk about operator 5 in a second, actually. So for now, we'll go to filter 1. So what's happening here is I have this high pass filter, and we get this little sound. It sounds so goofy, but what's happening here is I'm sweeping this high pass up. Let's get an EQ actually. Visualization always helps. There's no resonance, so yeah, I'm starting at some lower point and then sweeping it up like that, which solos out our noise basically. I have this high pass. It's Lime high pass on high quality surfer mode. The cutoff is at 24%. I don't know where this envelope necessarily ends. You don't need to get this exact shape. The whole point of this is to just get this sound, because you want to have these frequencies, say past 800 hertz, to be soloed out, so that you can then filter it more in the next filter. So that's really what's happening here. So I serialize filter 1 to filter 2. And this is a peak filter. And just a bit going on here. So first off, you have vanilla peaking, high quality flat triple mode. Cutoff is at 26%. Resonance is at 82%. Gain is at 83%. And I just have just a regular volume envelope. Decaying this cutoff right here. So what's happening here is it starts off low and it just sweeps up. So just for some visualization. And this is just a shape I drew that led me to the sound. Feel free to experiment, because it's a very meticulous process, honestly. And this is my resonance. So as this is going up, let's bring this over here. As our peak filter is going up, this is happening as well. So it's already pretty thick. So it thickens up more like that as it swoops up. Also, quick detail: if you want to go off the grid, you either right click and hold Alt, or just go down here, turn off the snap, and you can freely add your points for more precise enveloping. And low is also, it's filter low / gain / drive. In this case, I'm using the peak filter, so it's gain. So it's going up as the cutoff and resonance are doing their own thing. And if you zoom in real close, it starts off low and then jumps up and then decays away. So it starts out here and boom, boom, as it's going. Let's see if I can do the whole thing. So it's like doing this with the resonance coming up, which gives it such a nice snare sound. Take out the resonant thing, and it can be used as a nice little snare for whatever you want, really. And wave shaper mix, I'm just decaying this real fast, and the wave shaper is just defaulted. I have the wave shaper on, and that's it for the peak filter. And then effects, I just have reverb on. This is just to my liking, doesn't really matter. Set it to however you want. And for the resonance, operator 5. So this volume envelope is a little weird. This is just what I came to when designing the sound. I'm sure a simple something like this could work just fine. But yeah, I just went with this. So what's happening here is I'm actually using a hertz value just for a consistent resonant tone. I'm sweeping down the pitch, same old thing like operator 1. I have the pitch envelope set to 3600 cents, and this is what's causing such a resonant tone in the snare. I just drew in these sine waves from between harmonic 16 and 32, and this was all the taste. So I could actually, let's copy this, set that, and I just drew it in. just like that, no problem. I chose not to go down here because it's simply too low. It's literally just the bass tone right at that point. But of course, it also depends on what you pick for your hertz value, because the ratio is completely gone. I just chose just an arbitrary hertz value to mess around with and get a nice tone. So that's the idea of this snare sound. And that's the sound pretty much. I have this peak filter at 4,770 hertz with a 8 decibel increase. But yeah. Oh, there's a decrease, negative 4.9 decrease at 16k hertz as well. So that's the snare sound. Okay, so now let's get into the toms. This is a very simple sound. Operator 1 is just a sine wave. I put a little bit of tension on it for a little bit more. Alright, so now let's get into the toms. This is a very simple sound. I just have a sine wave with a little bit of tension on it. I have a very short decaying volume envelope again for obvious reasons. Sounds very staccato. And I have my little pitch envelope is the same pitch envelope amount. So I'm just sweeping this down, but it's much slower than like my kick, for example. But this works too. It's fun. And yeah, you can just do whatever you want with this. That's it for operator 1. Operator 2, it's literally just noise. I was doing my own sort of, I was trying to replicate the metallic timbre, but really I'm just keeping it simple. And I just decided to put on noise and decay the volume for that. So that's what that sounds like solo. And then operator 1 sounds like solo. And filter 1, here's where we have some movement. So operator 2 is going out to filter 1. So what's happening here is we're just kind of like with the snare, we're filtering it up to get the high frequencies isolated from the noise. So that's what's happening here. And I have a line low pass, high quality, triple mode, and I have the cutoff at 66% and the resonance at 73%. I have distortion on, but I don't think that really matters, honestly. Just habits, I guess. But yeah, this is the main thing that's happening. So let's solo this. Honestly, we might get the same sort of like push sound. Yeah, there is. So yeah, that's it for filter 1. Very simple. Serialize that into filter 2. And what's happening here is we're taking a low pass. In this case, I took a mango low pass, high quality triple mode. I have my cutoff envelope at 64%. And I have my cutoff at 42%. Resonance is at 14%. Drive is at 38%. And this is my cutoff envelope right here. So what's happening here is it's just a low pass. Let's see on my EQ again. My handy dandy. I mean, I'll just take this, honestly. Low pass. So yeah, you could kind of think of it as grabbing the high frequency and then immediately soloing out the lows. So we get our transient and our sort of hit, the person hitting the tom up here, and then it goes down to the sub frequency. That's all that's happening there. Volume envelope for filter 2 is just this. I think, yeah, put a little bit of randomization on the cutoff for some, I guess, realism. Not every hit is the same. And that's it for filter 2. And what's actually causing a bit of a more realistic hit is the reverb from the overall sound. If I take it off, you still get like the sort of roundness, but with the reverb, it sounds like someone's hitting it. It's in a room, you know. And these settings are also just to taste. I would suggest, of course, having a low cut, either all the way maxed out or somewhere not too low, because we get that. Well, that can work too, honestly. That's up to you. Yeah, I'm not gonna go too into detail on the reverb. Just have it be a really short decay and a really tiny volume. In this case, I have the volume at 22%, so I wanted something a bit bigger. But yeah, that's it for the toms. Okay, so for the clap, we just have noise for operator 1 and this little stutter envelope. That's the key to the sound. So yeah, draw this into your volume envelope. Again, make sure your harmonics are completely gone, and then we go straight to filter 1. This is the peak filter we have on, and all we're doing is just bursting the gain. So visually, get this out again. Already attached. So this is all we're doing. We're just picking a certain frequency and bumping it like that. Boom, boom, boom. I have high quality triple mode, and then cutoff is at 60%, resonance is at 86%, gain is maxed out. Keep in mind that like those parameters don't have to be exact. This actually morphs the sound as you like. So you can get different timbre for claps when you do this. I just chose what I chose because I liked it, you know. And filter it, or serialize it into filter 2. And I have a high shelf, vanilla high shelf on high quality, flat, triple mode. Cutoff is at 32. Resonance is at 45%, and gain is at 50%. And I'm doing a similar thing where I'm taking the gain and I'm bursting it up, but it's not as fast. So if I turn this off, it's a bit it sounds sloppier, but if I have the gain boosting up, that's what it sounds like. And I actually took the volume envelope of operator 1 and pasted it into filter 2, and that's how I got this sound. Again, if I turn this off, it's more of a noise thing than a clap. And in the effects, all I'm doing is I have a ping pong delay, and I just turn the stereo offset left or right. That's that, and I have a high shelf at 6,700 hertz with a boost of 11.6 decibels. And if I turn this off, it sounds like that works. But if you want just more highs, that works too, you know. And I have high quality envelopes on. I don't know if I messed up with other sounds, but if you're doing especially drum sound design, you might want to have this on, or not, but definitely keep that in mind. All right, so now let's go over the shaker. So operator 1 is just a sine wave with this volume envelope decaying real fast. Real common theme here, huh? Operator 2 is a similar envelope, just a higher tension. And I have the pitch also decaying of operator 2, and I have the pitch envelope set to 2400 cents, and the ratio is at 4. And operator 3 is the same thing as operator 1, basically, for volume enveloping. And pitch is the same thing as operator 2, but the pitch envelope is maxed out. As for operator 2's timbre or waveform, I just randomly drew in these harmonics. I don't even recall what I was thinking when I was making this. I guess I wanted to generate some sort of noise. Here's what it sounds like. Almost like a hi-hat. We'll do it one by one actually. So that's what it sounds like solo, and then feedback. Get a little bit of a saw wave, and then operator 2 comes in. Yeah, so feel free to mess with these harmonics. And then operator 3, just some more noise. And then I just routed to filter 1 to kind of group it all together. And then I just drew in this this envelope to get the shaker. Comes in soft, ends hard, and we got that. The reason I didn't just use straight up noise is because it didn't sound good. Not at all. And as for the effects, again, it's just I have a maxed out low cut, and there's minimal high cut, and everything else is just to taste. Doesn't really matter what you pick. Just do what sounds good, and you're good to go. Okay, so let's go over the cymbals now. In the unison section, we have a unison order of 9 and panning and volume at 100%. Operator 1 is a sine wave, and I have this long decay for the volume envelope, and I have the unison index mapping spread out like so, and I have the pitch envelope amount set to 614 cents, and the ratio is at 5. Operator 2 is also a sine wave with the same exact pitch envelope, pitch unison index mapping, and I have maxed out the pitch envelope. And it has a similar sort of envelope for the volume. I just maxed out the tension. And it has a ratio of 6. So basically what's happening here is what I like to call unison FM. Here's what it sounds like by itself. Operator 1. As soon as I start to FM operator 1 by operator 2, we start to get some metallicism. And if you can hear it already, we get that nice metallic ringing that we get in a real cymbal hit. So now, or no, not yet. Filter, or no, operator 6 is just noise with a really, really fast decay. Just that's all that is, just to kind of help the transient out. So yeah, and filter 1, we just have vanilla low pass filter, high quality single mode, default cutoff, no resonance, and this cutoff is just sweeping down. That's what it sounds like now, or what it should sound like. And I serialize this into filter 2. Filter 2 is a Lime high pass, high quality single mode, and 74% cutoff. Similar enveloping for the cutoff. And also, it already sounds like a nice little ride or open hat, whatever you shape it and interpret it as, you know. And I just have the wave shaper on because it was really quiet by the time the sound got to this point. But yeah, the distortion doesn't hurt. I'd argue it helps. And I serialize this into filter 3, which is just a phaser. And this is what really shocked me. It just sounds pretty awesome when you put it on. So I have high quality flat and alternate triple mode on, and I have like just cutoff of 65% and resonance of 84%. But as you can see, you will be able to, as you'll soon be able to see, you'll be able to mess with these and get different timbres. So the phaser generates these holes in the sound that makes it sound extremely natural. So if I actually take off, if I decrease the resonance, it'll still sound metallic, just not as exaggerated or resonant. But I'd argue like definitely have a good amount of resonance. And move the cutoff around. And you have basically the whole keyboard to play around with. Well, that's too low. Yep. And that's basically it for your like generic cymbal sound. You can do more enveloping and shaping to get a crash sound or open hat and so on. So for the closed hat, really all I did was, well, for one, I everything is the same, by the way. So I have I just have this drawn in for operator 3's volume. I have a ratio of 8 and positive 4% or 52% when you type it in for operator 3's volume. And yeah, everything else is the same except this little thing. I just put a volume envelope on filter 3 and there's that. And I think the cutoff reds are maybe a little different, but that's, again, a static phaser that completes the sound. And for both of both the ride and the closed hat, I just have these settings for the reverb. It's just what I chose for taste. It's very tiny. I just wanted to kind of simulate just like the natural reverb of someone hitting the cymbal. The difference is small, but it's there. And actually, for both sounds, I have a high shelf at 8,000 hertz with a 9 decibel increase, and a peak filter at 1,383 hertz with a negative 18 decibel decrease. And that's it for the cymbals. again, that this is your way of forming your cymbal sounds. So you can then form crashes, splash stacks, open hats, whatever cymbals you can think of. It's just an enveloping game at this point. You have the timbre to play with. And again, unison FM, unison FM, unison FM. That's the main idea behind getting this sort of metallic timbre. Start out here, and then all of these voices are just going crazy. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know, and have an awesome day.